You're watching Grassroots Resistance Collective. Texas grown, people powered, and unapologetically bold. We expose corruption, amplify real candidates, and give voters the truth the system tries to bury. No spin, no sellouts, just resistance. Let's get to work.
Hey, y'all. Welcome to the very first episode of Grassroots Resistance Collective Podcast, your new favorite place for unfiltered conversations, candidate accountability, policy breakdowns, and exposing political corruption in Texas. If you're tired of the lies, loopholes, and lobbyist-run legislature, this is the space where we fight back with facts, receipts, and some fire. You can find us online at GR Collective Texas and follow us across multiple social medias, including Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok at GR Collective Texas, or TX. We'll be live weekly, breaking down bills, interviewing candidates, and giving you the tools to be politically dangerous, but in a good way. Before we dive in, let's introduce our crew. We're a team of business owners, veterans, advocates, and everyday Texans who got tired of being silenced. I am Chastity, the founder of Bud and Bloom's Cannabis Academy and lifelong cannabis activist, and I'm going to be your guide through the chaos each week. Go ahead, Tovar.
Hey y'all, I'm Jennifer Marcano. I'm a progressive mom and advocate from Richardson, Texas, but you might know me as Jenny's Big Mouth on social media. This is where truth meets Texas, and this progressive is holding the line.
So did you have anything else, Jen, that you wanted to say? No?
Okay,
So we're gonna share our mission. So Grassroots Collective is a podcast that was started by, well, there were four of us. Claire, she cannot be on here tonight, but we just wanted to talk about what we're doing and why. So why now? Because we are out of time. We're out of time to sit back and just hope that someone else is going to fix it. Every election, every policy, every budget decision is going to affect us, from our schools to small businesses to healthcare, hemp laws, civic engagement. None of this is optional anymore. So it's time for survival, and that survival is making sure that you're an educated voter.
At the end of this, I think that we have all come to the conclusion that Texas, between gerrymandering and low voter turnout, we don't have a true representation of the Texas vote. So my mission with this is kind of the same as the teams. We want to make sure that Texans know their candidates, you know who is available to you, you know exactly what they're standing on. And when you show up to that ballot box, you're there confident. Most importantly is that you show up though. So we're really going to be focusing on voter turnout and ensuring that Texas actually shows up to make their voices heard, so that we're not standing here complaining about things that we didn't contribute to the decision making of at the end of the day.
And then we got over.
So I believe that leadership is incredibly important. As I've told many people, we've had to deal with 30 years of the government not listening to the people. They've been beholden to donors. They've been working against our best interests. And so with my campaign, I'm trying to bring sanity. I'm trying to bring structure. I'm trying to bring honesty and integrity back into the race.
What made you want to run?
Oh, so I was enjoying my military retirement and a YouTube video came up on the screen. It was random YouTube video, but it was the last legislative session, the Texas 89th legislative session. I saw congressmen introducing their bills, and it was restricting freedoms, taking away liberties. And I said, absolutely not. And since I'm a Marine, I can't just say something and not follow it up with action. So I immediately started campaigning.
Very nice. Tell us a little bit about your family and educational history. Where'd you get your roots started?
Well, I started in Humble, Texas, and I got a GED and enlisted in the Marine Corps. My father was Army, and my little brother is also a Marine. So I got to lead the family in the Marine Corps, and yeah, that's really it. I'm a couple courses away from getting my bachelor's, which I did pause so that way I could focus on the campaign.
Very nice. Thank you for your service, sir.
So you did say that you're on your way to get your bachelor's. I did have a question about
Hey, Tovar, I think your mic is muted, or it's just
Yeah,
really
Jeff.
low. You can hear it. It's just really low.
How's that?
Thank you, Claire.
That should be right. That should be good right there. I got red lights
No.
over here.
Oh, yeah, there it is.
Okay.
Claire's not here, but she's running tech support from the netherworld.
All right.
Yeah.
Cool. I'm pretty sure you can hear me now.
Thanks, Claire.
We got a
Yeah.
wizard behind the curtain.
Yes.
She
All
couldn't
right.
be here to help us today,
So
but she
you were saying
is.
that you're a couple courses away
Mhm.
from getting your bachelor's, and that's I'm actually in that same situation myself. But one thing that I did notice was transitioning out. Um, there's a huge separation between the civilian world and the military world, and we all understand that a lot of those qualities they don't, or those certificates and qualifications that you get in the military, they don't really transfer over into the civilian world. And not only that, when you're kind of like kicked out, into the real world, as we call it, you don't really have a whole lot of tools other than like a weak course and a LinkedIn profile. Um, with your experience, what would uh, what would you like to see as far as veterans who are trying to transition out?
So thankfully, Texas has a massive veteran population, one of the largest, and it also has one of the largest benefit systems for veterans. A lot of people don't know how to navigate the systems correctly because the ones teaching how to navigate those systems haven't used it in over a decade. Their experience was phenomenal, but now we're having to transition more into how can you leverage AI? How can you do all these different things in order to help you stand out? Because unfortunately, we have more unemployment, we have more job insecurity, which means since we have more job insecurity, more people that have jobs are applying for more jobs. So when veterans join the workforce, we are staring down the barrel of multiple people that have experience in that field that are applying for these entry level positions. So these veterans that are trying to transfer their credits or their experience from the military to the civilian world, they don't have that experience. So when employers are looking at it, they're like, listen, we want to hire vets, but these guys, they have 20 years of direct experience with our competitor that we need. And these guys have 8 years experience, although it's good experience and it's a protected class, they don't have the same amount for the same price. So what I would like to see is when veterans are wanting employment assistance, kind of like they can go through the VA and try to talk to an employment counselor. I think that needs to be expanded. And I think that we should also include a virtual way of doing it, especially because so many rural clinics are closing and so many of our mobile VA clinics are unable to reach rural neighborhoods now that we're starting to feel some of those cutbacks that the federal government did.
I think there's one big misconception as far as like specialty jobs in the military. Like my job, for example, I was a mechanic on 53s, and I did that well. I did that really well. But when I got out of when I got out, I kind of had this mindset, oh well, I got this experience on me. I have all these military qualifications that set me, above my peers. But when I come out, it's like the competition. It's not even just the competition being better than me as far as performance. It's like the pay. So you get out of the well, I got out of the Marine Corps E4 making what
Tovar, she can't hear you again.
do you call it? Can you hear me again?
Yeah.
Hear me now. All right. So
He's
I got
taking notes.
I think I'm just too far away from the mic. So
It's because he was taking a nap. Give him a break.
so so when you get out, there's obviously a pay difference. So especially from being married in the military to being almost having to compete for minimum wage at that point. Um, so that was a huge issue for me. I remember getting out. And it's almost like I said, there's just this misconception that when you that you can join the military, get a specialty job, get out, and automatically have something outside waiting for you. But that hasn't been the case, and I know it hasn't been the case for a lot of veterans out there. Also wanted to go maybe over to national news, not too much, but right now we have of course we got Alligator Island. Everybody has opinions on it. I'm sure we all share the same opinion about it. My issue is not only with Donald Trump capitulating on amnesty, but my main concern right now with Texas is how are we going to prevent that from happening in a place like Texas, especially with Governor Greg Abbott. He's obviously a huge Trump supporter. What what do what can we do as Texans to prevent something like that happening here?
I'm sorry, was that for me?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Sorry. So unfortunately, we can't stop it right now. All that we can do is let every single legislator, we can't do anything with Governor Abbott because he's already proven he will do whatever is in his donors' interests. But we have to make sure that all of the legislators know in all of their districts that they will not get reelected if they allow this to happen. They can limit the governor's power. It's the legislature that helps us rewrite the Texas Constitution. They can help stop it, but it's going to take all of these non-voters in Texas to actually decide, hey, it's time to work. And just in case anybody wants to test my claims about the non-voter in Texas, I'd like to clarify, half of all eligible voters in Texas did not vote. It's not, oh, there's so many Republicans, oh, there's so few Democrats. It's that so many people did not vote.
Yes.
If every single one of those people understood that their vote mattered, Texas would be very, very blue.
I actually have the numbers on that. There's 31.29 million people in Texas. Of that, in 2025, 6.3 million people voted GOP in the presidential race and therefore down ballot. 4.8 voted blue. That's 11 million people, you guys. 11 million people. So
there's only like 17. So out of that 31 million, there's only 17 million that are registered to vote,
right.
And less than half of those vote normally.
Like it's, and when that's just talking about the presidential race, when we're talking about our local races, nobody votes in those. Nobody votes in those. We literally have turnouts in my city of hundreds of thousands. We have a few thousand will show up for a vote if we're lucky. That's something that
local races usually get single-digit turnout.
See, that's.
I think in San Antonio we had 8 for this last mayoral race, like 8% or something for the last mayoral race last month.
Yeah. And a lot of those seats, people, you need to understand this, a lot of these seats run uncontested. They do not, they just get the seats over and over and over again because nobody's ever running against them. And anybody can run for office. Like anybody can run for any office. Yes. You can run for anything. You can run for anything local. So city, county, you could even do like what is it, like school boards,
School boards.
college school boards. Where is the comment section? We don't have a comment section, Tovar?
I gotta.
There's also
No opinions for
commissioners,
you.
judges,
I got a whole lot going on this
sheriffs.
side.
I know.
You're gonna watch and
Just
you're gonna
watch.
like it. No complaints.
Yeah. Yeah, anybody can run for literally anything. There's no reason for people to not be able to run. That just took everybody off the screen. I know you can't see this, but it's gray.
Uh-oh.
I look better off the screen. Good job.
I hope you can all still hear us.
We're still here.
We are still here.
Are we back?
Yeah, I don't know. I can't see the comment section. Oh,
Yes, we're back. Yes. We're good. Okay, sorry. Alligator Alcatraz, how do we stop it?
I can't hear.
oh, we're talking about voter turnout. Let's shift to something that we all understand right now. So we got president. We got Governor Abbott to veto SB3, and now we have this special session coming up. What are your thoughts on that?
I am wildly unimpressed with the list of subjects coming up in this special session. They have half of their topics sound amazing. One of them is getting rid of the STAR test. Oh, that'd be fantastic. I am looking forward to seeing how our 89th special session screws this up.
Yeah.
So I actually have a note on the special session. A few days ago, we have all been made very aware of the failures of leadership in Central Texas for these floods, finding out that an alert system would have cost that region under $1 million. Does anybody want to guess how much this 30-day special session of Congress is going to cost?
How much?
$12.
$12.
$1.5 million for 30 days. And Greg Abbott has called 4 of these throughout his career as governor. So to say that we didn't have money for an alert system for Kerr Valley when we had money for a special session for just a circle jerk of bullshit agenda, that's my note. Sorry, I'm ranting.
Saying what we're all thinking.
Thank you.
That's what the goal here is, right? Say what everybody's thinking. I mean, so I don't want to get into the Kerr County situation specifically. I've got a lot of social media stuff that's going on with that. But the money was there. Let me just say, between the 85th legislation, which was 2017, to today, there were multiple millions of dollars that were inserted in for this specific situation. And
At least 1 billion.
Multiple millions of dollars. This should have not been a thing. They did ask for sirens, they did ask for early warning systems, and they were told no, that it wasn't in the budget. But just this year, there's been I think there's $300 million that's in that budget, and they only asked for 1. So this is, in my opinion, on the state. This is bureaucracy, that a piece of paper killed kids, bottom line.
Yeah. Speaking of pieces of paper harming Texans, Nick, I have a question for you. Currently, we are under one of the most restrictive abortion bans in the country. Women are bleeding out in parking lots of Texas hospitals. Doctors are being prosecuted for prescribing health care to their patients. What would you do to ensure a woman's right to choose in our state and to protect health care providers who choose to care for their patients?
All right. I love this question. First and foremost, I am pro-choice. Just getting that right out of the way. So when I say I'm pro-choice, What I want to do is I want to make sure that a woman actually gets to decide what she can do with her body, kind of like a man would like to be able to decide what he can do with his body. No different. Everything exactly the same. So what I propose is we amend the heartbeat bills. The heartbeat bills are currently written for 6 weeks. That's erroneous. It was based on junk science. We just base it on real science and move it to 20 weeks. And then we also get the legislature, which I think it's going to be the 91st is going to be the first one after I get elected. We just get them to make sure that the government stays out of our doctor's office, bathrooms, and underwear. It has no place.
Excellent. Thank you. I also have a question regarding gerrymandering and voter turnout. I feel like as governor, this is going to be your baby. This is going to be your party. And if nobody shows up to the party, that means you messed up. So two sides of the same coin. People don't vote. And if they do vote, they're scared that redistricting is going to invalidate their vote. So what would you do to reverse the gerrymandering that exists, as well as increase voter turnout for future elections for all parties?
So it is both very simple and very difficult. The shortest answer is we redistrict. So while I'll be governor after I get elected, it will be time to actually redistrict Texas. That's regardless of whether or not Governor Greg Abbott tries to do it beforehand. What we do is we have everybody do their redistricting. I would prefer that there be civilian redistricting commissions created that would remove any sort of partisanship. However, no matter what, we must have analysts and lawyers ready. So as soon as we receive those maps, we look for gerrymandering. And if it's seen that there is any evidence of gerrymandering, we arrest them and we prosecute them with criminal charges for trying to, what was it? There's an actual legal term for interfering with an election in an attempt to rig an election. That's what they would be charged with.
Excellent.
That would help the gerrymandering situation. But then as far as the non-voting situation, when I talk to voters, when I talk to those eligible to vote, whether they have or have not voted, they want to vote. They want a reason to vote.
Yeah.
They want to know that they are voting for their future, not for some rose-colored vision of the past.
So for people that are watching, can you explain, because okay, here's the whole point of this podcast is most people, not most people, some people don't understand Texas politics. Okay, they don't understand how politics work. They don't understand why things happen the way that they do, because it's not, they're made by the Constitution, right? Like everything goes by a specific Constitution, so there's rules to everything, but people are not familiar with these rules. So can anybody explain why Texas would redistrict and what gerrymandering means?
Oh yeah.
Hold on, we can't hear you.
Your audio's going out, Nick.
Okay, what about now?
Good.
Perfect.
Oh, okay. Sorry. So as far as redistricting is concerned, what that does is it creates funny shapes on the map that are supposed to be based on population. They are not supposed to be based on the counties, which are reasonable shapes. They're supposed to be based on populations. However, these have been skewed over the course of 30 years to include certain populations. As an example, they are wanting to redistrict Texas to change Jasmine Crockett's district. They are trying to remove her from her seat in the most legal way possible.
Yes.
By deleting the seat.
Exactly. So by voting, we have to vote en masse. They cannot ignore your votes.
Exactly. Show up. Show up, you guys. Show up. Show up. Do not just scream at your TV. Show up.
Jen, you had like a really good map the other day of what it looks like, what the districts look like, and then that small spot where they were trying to take it out. Do you remember that map or where it's at? Because you
No,
can share it on the screen and it would allow everybody to see it. No.
I don't think that was me. I know Perla had a map, but I don't think that was me.
Oh, okay. That's okay.
I wish I did.
That's okay.
Because
I was
do not
trying to look
think
one
Jasmine
up so that
Crockett.
people can see. Actually, I'm going to look up this one, or I'm just going to click
So
on
while
it.
she's looking that up, what the Republicans have managed to do is every time that they find a blue district, they change the district to include more of a red district. They'll carve out portions of a red district to add it to that blue district. What that does is it allows more of the red voters to vote in in an essentially blue seat. They would change it to red. So there is a small diagram that has 8 squares, and it shows how even though you've got the same amount of votes, it'll change how those votes react based on how you separate those squares.
And I think Jasmine Crockett's is like 25, right? It's like right here somewhere, this long, skinny one.
Yeah, it's Deep Dallas, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Not come for Jasmine Crockett, you guys. I will beef with anybody who comes for Jasmine Crockett. I love Jasmine Crockett.
no
She's got some
doubt.
fire.
That's the 2 rules of this podcast is James Tallarico and Jasmine Crockett. No,
I
no.
wanted him to run for governor so bad, you have no idea. He is one of my
Really?
inspirations.
we love James Tallarico.
We do too.
We
Oh
all-
my gosh.
Yeah,
He's
we
like
all
the
love.
mascot for like everything that a candidate needs to be to reach the demographics in Texas who make the decisions. And that may sound a little funny, but I just feel like when you have a Democrat, a progressive, who's also a faith leader and lives and abides by that faith and walks it every single day, and you see it, he has an ability to reach across to another side that me and my big mouth and my foul mouth and my ungodly ways just cannot do. So thank you, Lord, for James Tallarico.
Well, we do still have hope. So any candidates that are currently in the special session cannot announce because they cannot receive donations while there is a special session. So I don't mean to give you false hope. I just mean to give you hope.
Well,
So
that
anybody
is
who's
very
waiting
interesting.
for him to announce on that
Joe
podcast,
Rogan.
Yeah.
and he said it. Anybody who's waiting for him to announce there, it's not going to. Just stop holding your breath.
I
move
know
on.
it's sad. It's sad.
I do have a question for you, but I do want to say something else. Because we were discussing this before the show about how, or maybe it was earlier today, about how when we talk about a candidate being a Republican or a Democrat or progressive or what have you, people automatically shut off. And so this is one thing that drives me absolutely crazy. I get comments in my videos all of the time where people are saying, turn Texas blue, keep Texas red, do this, do this, do this. I'll never vote conservative. I'll never vote Republican. I'll never vote Democrat. And here's the bottom line. I am not a Republican. And I do not identify as a Republican or a Democrat. I don't think that I really ever have since I was really, really young. But when I started understanding politics, because I was raised in a very tight Republican home, and everybody in our family was Republican, and that's just what you are, just like you're a Christian. You know what I mean? And when I started understanding politics a little bit better, I understood that I didn't really necessarily believe what this was. And so we were talking about this a little bit earlier with Trump. Okay, so Trump's first time in office, I agreed with a lot of the policies, right? I agreed with the not wearing a mask. I agreed that I was not going to get the vaccine. But then there were other things. Now we switch to, what is it, 8 years later, 4 years later? How long is it? I don't know how many years later it is.
Don't even
A
try.
million? It's a
Feels like-
million.
it feels like
It's been a
100.
million.
It's a million years later. But even in his first one, he was talking about how Obama or Biden or whatever, somebody's going to get us in a war with Iran, blah, 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 blah. The tables have turned. He is a
Completely.
completely opposite person. And I have not changed my ideals. And now I am marked as a Democrat when I always thought I was a Republican. And I think that the situation here is not that I am left or I am right. I think the situation here is that I have always believed in right versus wrong. And I still hold that belief no matter what side of the table you want to put me on. I still hold that belief. And I would hope that people, the goal of this would be for people to stop voting off of party and start voting based off of issues, right? Like, you can tell, you know what's right and wrong. You know that hurting someone is never right. Hurting someone, whether it's physically, emotionally, mentally, is not right.
Yeah.
Period. And so a lot of these policies and laws that are being passed, that's the bottom line. What's right and what's wrong. And you have your own brain, and you don't have to identify with a party, but you can identify with an issue. And I would hope that people will start voting based off of issue and stop voting based off of party.
Yeah. I can say that's definitely true because I am an affiliated Democrat progressive. I am ride or die, y'all. Like, I am proud of it. I am out. I am open. But I will admit full chested that Democrats are feckless. They are scared. They are so focused on their old puritanical values and decorum that it's just this all the time and nothing gets done. And the whole agenda for Democrats right now is Trump is bad. Trump's a fascist. Trump's a dictator. World War III is coming. He's going to kill everybody, end of the world. But nobody has said what the plan is.
Exactly.
So, but if I say that out loud, now I'm MAGA because I disagreed. If I call out Chuck Schumer, if I call out Cory Booker or Hakeem Jeffries or anybody, if I call out anybody, automatically I'm GOP now. So I'm with Chastity. What this has told us is that party affiliation doesn't mean crap. Vote based on the issue.
Yeah.
Based on the issue. And if a Republican has my best interest at heart in that agenda and I can see it,
exactly.
Maybe that's going too far, but I would consider it.
I mean, but that's exactly right. If we did not say what Pappas was, like what party affiliation he has, and we get through this entire podcast and you agree with 99% of what he says, then you know that person is going to represent you because that's your same beliefs. He has your same beliefs. And then if you're a hardcore Republican and then you get to the end and you find out that he's progressive, then you might be like, nope, I ain't doing it. I'm not changing. And that is insane to me.
Yes, me too.
It's like hills. It's just hills dug in the ground thinking. And I've been saying for a long time that we need to get away from these labels. I don't know how everybody else feels about that, but I think labeling yourself as a Democrat or a Republican, I feel like it disqualifies you as a Texan almost. Because for me, I've always believed in individualism and freedom. I do also believe in a collective, but I mean, I'm not. We're all united in this, and I just think that painting this left versus right, red versus blue is only just gonna separate, and it's gonna keep happening. Yeah. It's gonna keep separating us more than it is now, because everybody is just playing this weird tug of war game with who wants to be left or who wants to be right.
Tovar,
I think that we should all join.
You forgot to kiss the mic, Tovar.
Kiss that mic, bruh.
I think Nick's first mandate in office is that we do away with the two-party system and everybody just goes to the America Party. Isn't that what Elon's new party is? The America Party?
Something like that.
Yeah, that's not going to work for me. So actually, one thing that I absolutely want to do is do away with the two-party system. So first thing I want to do as far as elections are concerned is institute ranked choice voting. What that will allow us to do is vote for people that represent us, as opposed to having to choose two people that have been given to you as a choice. You don't have a choice. You have the choice we give you.
Yeah.
But
The
with
choice
ranked choice
is removable
voting,
from the
you
topic.
won't have to worry about who's a Democrat or who's a Republican, who's a progressive, who's a conservative, who's a Muppet. You won't have to worry about who anybody is. You'll have to worry about what they're going to do.
Yeah.
Excellent.
So my question, though, get back to that question before I went off on my tangent.
We all did.
Texas has handed over huge chunks of our economy to corporate monopolies, lobbyists, billionaire donors, while small businesses like mine, hemp farmers, veterans, working class Texans are getting squeezed out. So if you were elected governor, what is your vision for rebuilding an economy that puts power and profit back in the hands of everyday people and not political insiders and mega donors?
This is an exceptionally difficult policy for me to explain, but the basics. We need to tax businesses the way that they should be taxed. We need to tax the wealthy the way that they should be taxed. We have the Walmart heiress in Texas, which is wonderful. I'm glad that she decided to call this great state home, but she needs to pay the appropriate amount of taxes. There is no reason why she should be a billionaire and every single one of her workers have to receive SNAP and Social Security and Medicare.
So, but how can that be done because Texas doesn't have, we don't have state tax here.
Like we do. Yes, so the way that it works is we don't have a state income tax for like your normal income. We have all kinds of other state taxes, estate taxes, inheritance taxes. There's an entire list of them. And also small business owners up until I think it's like 2.7 million also have a tax relief, but then after that they do pay taxes. But then it drops off significantly. And all of those taxes are passed on to sales taxes in Texas. And that's why everything is getting so expensive, but the quality of nothing is changing. Now, if the quality of your banana was shooting through the roof and you were having to pay an extra $1 for your banana, you'd be like, oh, well, it's because it's this mega banana.
Yeah.
But it's not.
Yeah.
So what's happening is they're squeezing you on the sales tax. What I want to do is charge the corporations and the billionaires more. I want to charge the working families less. I want to make sure that fresh produce, diapers, baby formula, that there's no sales taxes on these things.
Pink taxes?
I'm sorry?
Pink tax.
Pink tax.
Oh, yeah, pink tax too. So there are all of these different taxes that they're squeezing you with and then saying, but you've got no income tax. You know what I'm saying? So you're good. And you're like, but I'm paying for it literally every other way. There are so many states that do it better and they have income taxes. I don't want income tax for Texas. That's not what I'm doing. But when we're taxing these businesses correctly, when we're taxing these billionaires correctly, when we're taxing these crypto farms, don't get me started with them and the energy grid. But when we're taxing them fairly, we have significantly more state income to supplement small businesses. What I want to do is give small business no interest loans to any Texan that wants them. Right now, only the rich can start a business without fear of failing. That's just how that works right now. If your parents manage to get $1 billion exploiting 2 million people, then you can start a business. You can start 7 businesses and you can get capital from other investors with no problems. But what I want to do is I want to be able to make that available to every Texan. You should be able to become a grocer without having to worry about Walmart buying you out. You should be able to run your own donut shop without having to worry about Dunkin' Donuts opening it up next to you and putting you out of business. You should be able to do these things in Texas. That is how you build the generational income, and that's how you become the Texan that you want to be, because you've invested in the community. You're paying into the community, community's paying into your business, everybody wins. Right now, everybody's spending their money in Walmart, and everybody that works at Walmart needs a second or third job.
Yeah.
So
For sure.
how would we keep those businesses here if we were to implement fair taxes?
So I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No,
Please go ahead.
I was just gonna say, because it's like obvious that they would want to leave once they find out that they're gonna be taxed at a higher rate.
Right. And everybody thinks that. But if you look at any other state and any other country, that has never been the case. Never once has any business said, I don't want to do business in a state as large as a country. Texas has the 7th largest economy in the world. We are tied with Canada, but our workers do not have the same protections. We do not have the same small business certifications. We do not have the correct tax brackets that protect our lower income and tax our higher income. And don't even get me started with housing insecurity. That's an entirely new rant. But when we have this much money, when we have this much spending power, when we start allowing people to own small businesses, they want to spend more money. They want to support more larger businesses. Like, just as an example, Amazon. Amazon does not make the majority of its money with Amazon Prime, or even, I know this is going to shock you, Amazon Video, which is the premier video service. They do not make their money there. They make their money through cloud services. They couldn't care less if the other businesses just straight up vanish, because they're making so much more money from all of these other businesses. And they make that money from small businesses. Amazon will never want to leave Texas. Walmart will never want to leave Texas. But we tax them fairly. We reduce the amount of locations. And even if we don't reduce the amount of locations, we force them to compete with small businesses. So when we say that, we're talking about worker protections. When you're a business the size of Walmart, you're able to give more worker protections, insurance, and retirement than a small business. The state of Texas would recognize that. The state of Texas would supplement the smaller businesses and force the larger businesses to pay their lion's share.
Interesting. That's actually really good.
I just
spent a long time going through this. That's only half. It's only half of the platform. It gets so much worse.
So where it has there been other states where they have shifted over to I guess to a bracket to where they are taxing these bigger
Implemented it, yeah.
corporations?
Minnesota
But
did it. didn't they?
taxing them appropriately? No, absolutely not.
Okay.
Taxing them progressively? Absolutely. California, Colorado, New York.
Minnesota.
Yeah, and there's a few of the other smaller, less important New England states. When they're Texas, we can talk. But there are many case studies of this, and that's just how business works. Of course, they don't want to pay more. Of course, they're going to send out their propaganda. They've got a lot of money to do it. It's no different than union propaganda. Unions have helped workers since America was founded. But there's still today union propaganda that they don't work and that they're bad for workers and stuff like that. It's no different. The businesses are going to try to scare you. Oh, Walmart's going to leave. Good. Let Walmart leave. And then I can replace one of Walmart's locations. I can take that over. I can be the grocer, and I can make my family wealthy for generations.
I
Do you think
definitely
it's a
think that there could be a
beautiful-
good balance.
Sorry.
No, I just think I think that there could be a good balance.
I was just
Yeah, we wouldn't
thinking
just tax Walmart like 100% overnight. Like, that wouldn't happen.
I was just thinking about the big beautiful bill and something that I heard today that has been, I'm sorry, I've got this echoing going on because of this. Okay, so the big beautiful bill, I heard today that the stuff that will help small people, or the benefits that will help individual people or small businesses, is only going to be allotted for 3 years, and it will time out. And that the benefits for these super billionaires, that those are forever. And so do you think that Texas could implement something that over federal law, that
Oh, no.
over that law?
No. So the way that state government works is it has to operate within federal law.
Right. And so that's what I'm
that's one of the
thinking.
reasons why California can't just kick out the National Guard that's patrolling the streets against the governor's wishes. Even though the governor has control over the National Guard, that it's because it has to operate within. Now, we can institute our own state taxes to these businesses. We can institute our own state benefits to these businesses and force them to cooperate or get out. And again, there's no chance that they're going to get out. It's going to reduce their profits by less than double digits. per, I think it's like fiscal quarter. And then they're going to keep doing businesses. They're going to be like, oh, well, then we have to raise the prices. Good. Let Fiesta price out Walmart on groceries. Why not?
Yeah. All right, you guys, if you are just joining us, we are talking with Nick Pappas. He is a progressive candidate for Texas governor, and we all know Jenny loves that. But I wanted to ask Nick a couple of questions from our followers, if that's okay with you.
Let's do it.
Okay, so I have Adam Farnsworth on TikTok wants to know, how would you as governor work to uphold individual liberties while also ensuring the needs of a collective society are met?
Oh, I love this one. With appropriate representation, not allowing corporate lobbyists to devise policy. That's the biggest thing. When we allow the people to discuss what they want, that's what needs to happen. That's the goal. So the easiest way to do that is if the Congress refuses to represent the people, as they've been doing throughout these past few legislatures, we put them to ballot measures. So if I say, hey, we need to get the government out of people's bathrooms, underwear, and doctors' offices, and the legislature's like, I'm sorry, we just can't do that. We have to make sure that I personally can control the body of every woman in Texas. Then I could say, oh, cool, I asked the wrong people. And then I put it on the next ballot that the people vote on.
Yes.
That's the easiest way to make sure that individual liberties are kept individual liberties while ensuring that we're all a part of the conversation.
That's perfect. I don't know, you guys, that's what I wanted to hear. Okay. Yasmin Ramirez on TikTok also wants to know, how do you plan to approach border cities in the state? These commuter cities are often painted in a negative light, which is often false and right-wing propaganda. How would this change with you as governor?
Yeah, there is a significant amount of racist propaganda that is being spread about our border towns. Our border towns are awesome. A lot of our border towns have a lot of our immigrants, and immigration makes this state and this country great. So the way that we need to address this is not with more expensive, ineffective border wall. What we need is technology, training, and support. We need to make sure that anybody that's trying to cross the border is directed to where they need to go, and they need to be done so humanely. We need to make sure that all immigration, legal, illegal, from space, however you want to call it, we need to make sure that it's compassionate. That's the thing. We don't want another alligator Auschwitz. We want to make sure that we are actually taking care of our Texans, new and old. We need to make sure that we're using drones, LiDAR, radar. We have so many different technologies that could help with border security, that could help those crossing the border seeking asylum. It could protect those in these border cities from any nefarious actors or criminals, which aren't many. Everybody hears the president talking about immigrant crime and all of that nonsense. Less than 1% of the population, while immigrants are giving billions of dollars in taxes. They do pay taxes, and they're not taking any benefit programs because they qualify for them. So while they're subsidizing our budget, we could be using that money to make sure that they're treated humanely and make sure that all of our border cities, and not including their infrastructure, we absolutely need that, but purely from a security and humanitarian perspective, these things could be funded just by our immigration policies if we did it humanely. Right now, we have immigrants that are not wanting to register, that if they miss their dates, they just try to disappear. They try to do cash-only jobs. We don't want this. When we're talking about getting rid of our immigrants, when we're talking about going after all of these illegals, we are absolutely destroying the security in our border cities.
Yeah, I agree.
I want to touch on something that you mentioned. I think a lot of people don't understand that that there is a lot of illegal immigrants that contribute to our economy. Whether they have a stolen Social Security, someone's fake Social Security, they put in tax dollars into a system that they don't get back or they can't get back.
Mm-hmm. You can't
Never.
file income tax with a stolen social, guys. You can't file income tax with a fake social. They can work all day long, but they will never get anything back.
I don't know
Yep.
the exact number,
And
but I think it was like 4 billion or something like that they just contributed like in 2023 or something.
it was 11 billion along the southern
There
border.
you go.
That's just in Texas. Nationwide, it was like $96 billion for one tax year, just in funding from undocumented persons.
And when all of this racist propaganda is being pushed and ISIS is raiding all of these illegals, they're not raiding these crack dens in pockets of cities. They're finding them at their jobs that they found because
Or
they're
at the
paying
courthouse.
taxes.
At their
Or at the
immigration
courthouse.
hearings.
Yeah.
Immigration hearings that you should be able to appeal if you did not feel that you received justice.
A woman was picked up after 4 hours after delivering her baby.
Yeah.
A woman was picked up. I want to say Texas, but I know for sure it was a southern state. But a woman was picked up 4 hours after giving birth and deported.
Yeah, the racist cruelty is the point.
Yes. I saw a post the other day. I think Claire sent it to us in our group Instagram. I don't know if you guys read it or not, but it was like a carousel, and it was this lady that lives in France, and she had just done like this article or whatever, and she's talking about how people, so she's talking about the cemeteries in Germany. The what is the beach in Germany?
Normandy?
Normandy.
That's
Um,
France.
It's France.
Okay. Well, so there's a cemetery,
I
I
know
guess
that.
a big US cemetery there, and then there's a German cemetery there as well. And they are, what she was talking about was that what's happening in the United States right now. Stay with me, anybody that's following that might be a MAGA supporter or conservative, but just stick with me here. So essentially what she's talking about is when Germany started with the, can we say the N word on here?
I think we know what it is.
Or not.
It's okay. We know what you mean.
Okay, so when that started, they first started taking, okay, Claire says it's from World War II. Sorry. They started taking, they took, individual people. So it was like, the press people, it was teachers, it was unionists, it was, you know what I mean? It was LGBTQ, it was people of color. And then all that was left for that cemetery, or all of the people that were left for that war, were just the white loyalists. And so you have to think about that. Like, these people that are of a different color that you hate so much, right? They're just being deported. If the war starts, who's going to be left to fight that war? Right? So I think there was something like, I want to say there was 21 million or 29 million people that are buried in that American cemetery. And there are twice that many German soldiers in the other cemetery. They are buried to a plot.
Oh, 21,000. Yeah.
Was that what it was? 21,000?
21,000. And then it doubled in the other cemetery.
Mm-hmm. And it's just like, what are people thinking? Like, these people are the people that are making your food. These are the people that are taking care of you at the hospital. These are people that your kids are friends with their kids at school. Like, it's always been this way, and they're not harmful people, right? We can't just say because I had an experience with a man at one point that was super abusive to me, that every man I should be afraid of, right? This is the same thing as the man versus the bear situation. It's not every man. You walk around and you say it's not every man, it's not every man, it's not every man. But the bottom line is it's not every person of color.
Yeah.
Right? And there has to be some kind of, if you can sit and talk to somebody and have an actual conversation without throwing your flag and your hat in their face, you would see that we all have something in common all of us are probably not on the same page about everything, but we can all sit here and have a conversation that is productive, right? And maybe you may say something that changes my mind, or I may say something that changes your mind. I just don't understand the ugly and the hatefulness with the with people of color, and why we are just deporting every single person. It's just insane to me. I just don't understand it. And then on top of that, the whole ownership of
Oh my God.
the farmer ownership. I know, were we not supposed to talk about that in this?
No, he called that amnesty. That's what
We
that,
can't. He said,
Do you
what,
know what we're
farmer
talking about, Papa?
amnesty or ownership rights?
Yeah.
Do you know what we're talking
Nick,
about?
have you heard this quote?
Yeah.
Look at his face.
straight up
Sorry.
owners. He just
Say
said owners.
something.
Like
Like, how
what?
do you say owners?
And he
Oh,
just,
I know exactly how they say it.
oh my God, exactly
With
the way.
their hood in their other hand. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh my God.
I mean,
And there was another quote from, I want to say it was that same rally that he was at, where he also made an exceptionally abhorrent comment towards Hebrew bankers. There was a vile term that he used, and that I don't think has gotten any press. Nick, are you familiar with what I'm talking about?
Nope.
Yeah. He said
We'll
the
have to
word
send it to
Shylock.
you.
But that's like a really old freaking term that it's offensive to like people from like Shakespearean time, but it's still like it's racist.
It's offensive to Jewish people now.
Everybody like it's like the other slurs that you hear, but he brought it back from the dead for sure.
Oh my God.
I didn't know what it meant. They had to tell me. So
He was talking about securing financing for something at one of his rallies, and he was talking about how back in the day you would have had to go to some banker with some crazy interest rates. Yeah.
For a Jewish banker, yeah.
This is me and my I can't say that word. I just can't do it. Do you see this? Like, thinking about saying the word, I am horrified. My face is so red, you guys.
We're not on TikTok.
I know.
I know, but we're just so used to always. Tovar gets us kicked. Well, Jen gets us kicked off of TikTok a lot. Tovar gets us kicked off of TikTok live a lot.
It's because I curse and vape. I curse and vape a lot.
Okay. So did we have any other was there any other comments or like from viewers?
I remember seeing a question on TikTok from Nick Pappas.
I remember seeing that too. Did you see it, Tovar?
I saw there was a question from Nick Pappas asking how on earth was this fabulous gentleman gifted with such incredible genetics? I think that was the question we were supposed to ask.
Well, I'm very glad that you asked that question, and thank you to Nick Pappas for asking it. You're a gentleman and a scholar.
Pappas Texas 2026. Make sure you follow him on.
Yeah, that's a pretty nice guy.
TikTok.
Yeah, we like that guy. So, Nick, do you have anything else that you want to say to Texas?
Absolutely. Texas, organize and mobilize. Don't just sit on the couch and yell at your TV. Do that as well. But also get up and get out. When you go to protests, network, talk to people, get them on Facebook. That way you can all share memes about how much you hate everybody that you hate. But also so that way when there's elections, you know when there's elections. Also when there's elections, you know where there are elections. Early voting has many more locations than election day voting. Early voting usually has about a dozen in every county. Election day voting usually has one in every county. And we're talking Kerr County, we're talking Lubbock County, and we're talking Harris County. So make sure you know what you're doing and make sure you get out and vote. Make your voice heard, not just in your living room, but nationwide. Because how Texas goes is how America will go. Thank you.
Yes. All right. Well, I guess that's it. Pappas, we want to thank you so much for just joining us today and being willing to answer all of the questions that real Texans care about. And to everyone that's watching or listening, we want to thank you guys for being part of the movement. And I hope you found some value in this conversation with us. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe. You can find us at GR Collective TX on every platform. We also have a website that I'm currently trying to change what is it called?
The
so far?
domain.
The domain on, but the link is down in the description underneath this video. If you have any other questions for any of our other candidates, if you go to that website, Pappas has a bio on there, and we had a questionnaire that we ask every person that comes on our show. And that questionnaire, he has filled it out, and it is underneath his picture. So you just click on his picture and it will drop down and you can read his answers to all of those questions. Because I know we couldn't cover not everything, but we ask every person the same exact question. So everything that he answered is in his bio on our website. So yeah, next episode who do we have on our next episode? Do we know?
I think it's Sean.
Oh yes. Is it Sean or is it?
I think it is.
I think
Right.
it's Sean.
Sean Sabahe.
Yeah.
So she is going to talk to us about cannabis in Texas, what's going on with the special session, what you can do to help. So stay tuned for that. And that's it. We're Grassroots Resistance Collective. Thanks for being with us tonight.
Thanks everybody.